I don't know. You'd have to ask them. They dropped a bunch of artists all at the same time. They dropped Katy Perry the same week.
Det var inte bara OneRepublic och Katy Perry som fick sparken. Även Jonas Brothers och Neo fick lämna Columbia Records. Men hur tacklar man en sån grej? Att få sparken precis innan man ska släppa sin debutskiva.
We were very disappointed. I mean, it's embarrassing, it's crushing, it's gutting, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's your career, it's your life, you know. And
we're all pretty young too.
We were all pretty young in our early 20s, mid 20s. We thought that the songs were great and that if people just heard them that they would like them, that they would connect with us.
De var så knäckta att de funderade på att till och med lägga av med musiken.
Oh yeah, we were going to quit June. It was June of the following year. Zach was going to leave and move back to Iowa after we got dropped, which would have been brutal because we probably would have taken at least 24 hours to replace him. I mean, finding a guitar player in Los Angeles? Impossible.
Men istället för att lägga av så valde bandet en annan riktning.
We put our stuff on the internet. We said, screw the record label, and we took the songs that they owned and posted them up for free on the internet. And it went viral within probably 60 days. And then we were the top artist on MySpace, the most played, most viewed artist on MySpace for about a year without a record deal.
Så från att ha fått sparken och helt tappat tron på sig själva så var de det hetaste och mest populära osignade bandet som alla skivbolag ville ha. Och det var då Timbaland hörde av sig och ville signa dem.
Well, we signed with Timbaland because it was Interscope. We didn't sign with Timbaland's label specifically because it was Timbaland. It was because it was Interscope. And we're huge fans of U2 and that was their record label. That's what a lot of bands do that. They want to sign with the record label that their favorite bands signed to, you know what I mean? And U2 was produced by Jimmy Iovine and he owned Interscope and they were signed to Interscope and I thought that would be the best record label to sign to. And at the time, of course, Timbaland was as big as could humanly possibly be. He was the biggest producer in the world.
Så nu hade Ryan återförenats med Timbaland och de låg på samma skivbolag som deras favoriter U2. Men fortfarande var inte allt frid och fröjd.
I know for a fact that none of us really counted on anything. I mean, we had conversations about it all the time. I did not count on anything.
What did you say to each other?
We were so used to disappointment, to failure, basically, that
we stopped telling people what was going on with our band. You know, it's like that. The first couple times you lose a record deal, or there's an offer on the table and goes away, you realize really quick that you don't want to count on anything.
Yeah, I stopped talking about OneRepublic. It was all I talked about for 3 or 4 years, and then I stopped. I started focusing more on writing and producing for other artists, because that was working for me. And when you're doing anything, you go where people want you. You don't want to go hang out at the party that no one wants you at. So you go where you're invited. And the OneRepublic thing was happening quietly. People say, what's going on with your band? What's going on with your band? I'd say, I don't know. I mean, I downplayed it so much to the point that my own wife, I wouldn't even talk about it with her. I was like, nothing's happening with the band. That's the answer. Nothing's happening. Until once you've been dropped after 3 years of your life and money and time, you made an album, once you get dropped, you become cynical. You don't believe anything anybody says. It's all bullshit until something works. And so until Apologize was actually on the radio, I would tell anybody that would ask me nothing. I would say, we're not doing anything, we're signed to Interscope, but whatever. I wouldn't even get in a conversation with people. I would just, nothing's happening.
OneRepublic med deras superhit Apologize som skrev radiohistoria när den kom faktiskt. Det blev nämligen den mest spelade låten på radio under en vecka från ett debuterande band. När Apologize sedan fick se sig slagen av Leona Lewis Bleeding Love så tror jag ändå inte att Ryan sörjde allt för mycket. Han har nämligen varit med och skrivit och producerat den låten också. Men den tiden är nu förbi och OneRepublic är aktuella med en ny skiva, Native. Så hur har OneRepublic förändrats med tiden?
Tempo. We learned that we need more tempo. We learned that we wanted more tempo. Faster songs. More honest lyrics. You learn each time, you know. I learned on this from our last album that I needed to be a lot more personal, a lot more, I guess you could say, honest lyrically, and go deeper. If you're going to connect with people emotionally, I mean, this band's always been about connecting emotionally, musically. We always want to create like euphoria. You know what I mean? We want people to feel like have an emotional reaction. And If I Lose Myself is like a feeling of euphoria. Like when that music kicks in, the whole thing feels like you're floating, and it's very euphoric and just kind of like exhilarating.
Mer om låten If I Lose Myself och hur den är inspirerad av Swedish House Mafia kommer vi snacka om senare. Men varför kände OneRepublic att de ville ha mer tempo? De hade ju ändå lyckats ganska bra med Apologize som inte har så mycket tempo.
Honestly, for touring, it comes down to touring. And we have a lot of mid-tempo. You know, obviously, Stop and Stare, Apologize off our first album. Our second album had Secrets. Some of the songs, I don't know country by country what songs became hits. For like Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Holland, like a big chunk of Central Europe, we had 3 or 4 hits on our last record that all, with the exception of one, all had a very mid-tempo type feel. And once you're performing live and you're touring, you start to realize after an hour and a half of music, okay, there's like 4, 5, 6, 7 songs that all have the same kind of tempo. Yeah, they don't fall asleep at all, but you end up having to do things live to make up for the fact that the tempo was slower. I'd be bouncing off the walls, going crazy on stage, just trying to keep the energy level up. And this time with these songs, I don't think we're going to have to worry about that. No one's going to be, you know, it's by the time our concert is done, I think everybody will be exhausted. People will be sweating. Yes, they will. They'll be losing weight and getting their fitness while listening to OneRepublic. I'm actually reaching out. I'm trying to fight obesity in Sweden. You know, and I'm doing my part to fight the. Actually, you guys don't have an obesity problem at all. No, you guys haven't figured that out yet. When you finally do figure out obesity, we'll come help you.
OneRepublic med Feel Again. I veckan släppte bandet ifrån sig sin 3:e platta, Native. Låten vi precis hörde, Feel Again, är bandets andra singel. Men den första singeln heter If I Lose Myself och på nätet finns en video där de glassar runt i ett soligt Grekland och spelar in någon form av bakom kulisserna-video. Om de hade spelat in en musikvideo i Sverige istället, hur hade den sett ut och hur hade den låtit?
Part of me would want to go to like northern Sweden where it's just like it's white as far as you can see and like do a single shot, character walking like through blinding snow or just through like a field. It'd probably be, I don't know, if we did a record here, I don't know if you know, do you know James Blake? I could see him shooting like you could see Retrograde being shot like, walking through some field in northern Sweden. And we have a song called Can't Stop that's a pretty big song, that's inspired, very James Blake-esque style song.
Sångaren Ryan liknar deras låt Can't Stop med James Blake och jag är definitivt beredd att hålla med om den liknelsen. Kopplingen mellan OneRepublic och Swedish House Mafia är inte heller så långsökt. Sångaren Ryan, som är den som pratar mest under hela intervjun, är nämligen med och sjunger på Sebastian Ingrosso och Alessos låt Calling.
Can we just for one night let the stars decide where we belong?
I performed with them at Coachella with Sebastian Ingrosso and Alesso. And then I saw that their set, they were one of the headliners, and I thought that they were better. I was more impressed with their set than I was with Radiohead, than I was with the Black Keys, than I was with Bon Iver or anybody else.
Coachella, are we having a good time? My name is Steve Angelo. This is Axel and Sebastian Ingrosso. We're the Swedish House Mafia. Coachella, make some fucking noise!
Och OneRepublics första singel, If I Lose Myself, är alltså inspirerad av Swedish House Mafia.
They had the most electrifying set of the whole weekend, and I'd gotten to know Sebastian through I did The Calling last year. They're one of their big records of last year, and I've done a handful of things with some various DJs and electronic musicians, and that song just turned out that their set was so good at Coachella that I was like, that's it. There needs to be a band that actually, I want to hear a band take this energy and this sound and do an organic sounding record. It's one thing to do a remix. That's different. You know what I mean? Like Florence and the Machine with Calvin Harris, or us with Timbaland, or us with, me with Sebastian Alesso. That's different. I wanted us to have our own song that wasn't a remix, that captured the energy of Swedish House Mafia, but didn't sound like we were trying to rip off Swedish House Mafia. And so Brent came up with the music to If I Lose Myself. I was on vacation, and he sent it to me, and the first time I listened to it, I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is so cool. This sounds like nothing we've ever done. It's so exciting. It's different than just a normal type of, it's not a traditional sounding EDM record or anything like that. And I sent it to Sebastian. I sent him the demo as we were doing it, and he loved it and had some notes on it. And then we had the final version. When I sent him the final version about a month ago, he flipped out. He was like emailing me, I'm freaking out. This is so incredible. I love this. We want to remix it. And so far so good. You never know. I mean, it's fun because it's scary and fun. We've never done a record like this. Our band, we never do the same thing twice. We had Apologize 5 years ago, and when we came out with our second album, everybody said, well, where's the Apologize? And we said, there isn't one. Like, why the hell would we do that? I don't care if we ever have anything like that song again. To me, it's about every time we put out a new record, doing something new that's exciting to us, and I get bored very easily. I could never keep doing the same type of record. So this album is, If I Lose Myself, is the most electronic sounding song on the album. The rest of the album doesn't sound like that, but it was a fun experiment.